Still got one there. Right, hi everyone, I'm just doing a quick audio check. Hope the audio sounds alright. I'll be back in about 30 seconds when that timer counts down. Okay, greetings. Got a few people in the chat already. Symphony of Souls and Jackie Sharp and CC Jelly. Hi, thanks for stopping by. CC Jelly, have I microwaved anything tonight? No, I haven't actually, but I do have a few trivia questions if people want to take part. More on that shortly. The title of this evening's live stream is Open Lines, and that means the lines are open. If anyone wants to stop by. Greetings to Alice Wilder, just seen your name pop up in the live chat. Yeah, I always believe live streaming, I probably say this every time. Live streaming is a great way of sharing, of interacting with the audience, and I think taking it one step further, if you want to take part and call in and just say hello or talk about anything, share anything, any good information you think might be of interest, yeah, just go into your browser and go to tinyurl.com/bzlive. I do actually have a little tutorial video on how to do that. Might take me, should have got it prepared earlier, but bear with me and I'll see what I can, I'll let you know how to do it. I've also got a couple of things we're going to look at. Last week we did the third quiz night, and it was won second week in a row by Mudlark Digging Up the Thames, closely followed by well, all of you did really well that took part. Yeah, so bear with me, I'm just going to put up a tutorial for anyone that would like to join in the live stream and say hello. Really easy process. Symphony of Souls, lots of background static. Yeah, I'm going to have a quick look now and see if I can do anything about that. You'll have to let me know if this... Right, hang on. Right, I'm going to have to put my own audio on to see how much difference this makes. Or I might even go mute, let's see. Okay, any better now? I think that might sound marginally better, but possibly not as loud. Yeah, of course, feedback on the audio is always appreciated. Right, let's see. Hang on. Thanks, Symphony of Soul says that is marginally better, but of course, guys, keep yeah, let me know, and yeah, keep me informed. Just gonna get started. Yeah, like I said, I wanna share with you a quick tutorial. Let's see. And then, if anyone feels like stopping by, I've had some interesting chats with a couple of people on previous live streams where I've opened the lines. We had Nisha, I think, came through. And we also had Random Games, who I've known as different, we've had various different channel names. So yeah, I'm just gonna, in a minute, I'm gonna play a video for you guys. Maria Ellender, hi, welcome. Sorry, the audio's not sounding particularly good. Bear with me, and we'll try and improve things if we can. Bear with me a sec. No, I see what you mean. Oh. I see what you mean, actually. Right, is this any better? There's a few settings on here. Right, I think this may be as good as it's going to get. If it is really terrible, let me know, but hopefully it's bearable. And I'm also going to share, like I said, a quick tutorial video with anyone that feels, they would like to join in the live chat. They would like to join in and say hello. I'm going to share a link. You can go to tinyurl.com/bzlive2103. That is Bobby Zines Live, but abbreviated BZ Live 2103. That's today's date. I'm also going to put a link in the live chat and see if I can pin it. Join the stream at thanks Jackie, Maria, Alice, everyone for the feedback on the audio. Always takes a little while to get that working. Right, how do you pin? Here we go. Okay, pin to the top. It should have a link. Right. This is how you would, if you do want to tune in and do want to stop in and say hello, this is how you would do it, okay? Let me just find the appropriate video. And this is just right. Okay, I'm going to mute my audio while this video plays for like 30 seconds or so, and then I'll be back, and then we will get on with the entirety of the live stream. During tonight's live stream, I'll make available a tiny URL address in the live chat and description. This will take you to a landing page on StreamYard where you'll be asked to allow access to your camera and mic. Now, of course, you're in full control of what people see. These buttons here allow you to either start or stop your camera, and you can mute and unmute your microphone by pressing these, and this is all before anyone sees you. There's also the settings if you need to change any settings for your audio or camera, and you can even upload an avatar if you want. It's not essential, but if you've got a picture you want to be seen as, that is what will be displayed. You can then enter a name. Choose any name you want. Something I'll recognize you by is helpful, and from here before anyone sees you, there's also I'll make available a tiny URL address in the live chat and description. This will take you to these buttons here allow you to either start or stop your camera, and you can mute and unmute your microphone by pressing these, and this is all before anyone sees you. There's also the settings if you need to change any settings for your audio or camera, and you can even upload an avatar if you want. It's not essential, but if you've got a picture you want to be seen as, that is what will be displayed. You can then enter a name. Choose any name you want. Something I'll recognize you by is helpful, and from here you can then watch the live stream from this page. Again, the controls down here for whether you want your camera or microphone to be on or off, and there's also a way to go into the comments so you can see and read any comments. Now, this is on a mobile. Things will look a little bit different if you're doing it from a PC, but the same way of entering. Now, until you click avatar, your audio and mic settings, you pick the display name. Once you're backstage, then I can join you to the chat anytime. You can send me private messages on here, and as long as I'm looking at the page, I'll see them. Okay, that is about all from that tutorial video, because for whatever reason it barely played at all. I'm using StreamYard, and yeah, I think I'm going to blame that for now. Now, in order to encourage anyone to join the stream, like I said, I've got a few I've got a few trivia questions, a couple of images which I'm inviting people to try and identify. If you get it correct, then, well, you get kudos points. No prizes tonight, not that I've ever done any prizes, but yeah, I'm not going to answer it in the live chat. If you do come on the stream and take part and have a go at the question, the image, identify what it is, then I will. If you stay on for like a minute or so, I'll give you a second guess. You get one guess for every minute you're prepared to take part, just to give people a little bit of incentive. Right, I'm now going to show you the first image. Anyone that can identify this, by all means, call in, get on at tinyurl.com /BZLive2103, and yeah, well, you'll have a go at answering. If you're not interested, hey ho, you'll just have to guess. Hey, right, this is the first image. What is it? I'm bringing it up right now. There you go, guys. Can you identify this object? Good luck. Right, like I said, anyone who wants to have a crack at that, then get in touch. Okay, on with the... Oh, that might have ruined things a bit there. On with the live stream. Of course, last week we had our quiz, and I do remember someone coming in and saying tomorrow, the 22nd of the 3rd, is a big day for hoax events. Now, I'm going to have a little look back over the years at some of the events that have taken place on the 22nd of March, and see if there's any links going on. Another thing also that came up last week was how the story of Sarah Everard, and first time I'd ever really looked at that story, to be honest, back then. But yeah, now I've had a bit of time to look at it again. Yeah, I've got a few more points to make on that. And if there's anything you guys in the chat would like us to look at. In fact, I think Jackie Wild's still with us. Yes, Symphony of Souls, 322, exactly. Right, we're going to have a look on this website. It's called onthisday.com, at what's happened on the 22nd of March in previous years. Bear with me. Oh, hang on, sorry people, one quick second. Okay, just see, Maria Ellender, didn't Lee Rigby take place on the 22nd of March? We're having a look actually. Alice Ward says Purim is a big date. And right, we're gonna... Apparently back in 2020, the Iranian Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, refuses American BS-19 help, refers to conspiracy theory that it was manufactured by the US. Okay, that was 2020. Also in 2020, India puts 1 billion people under a daytime curfew to curb BS-19. And there's the burial of a victim in Iran during the pandemic. They were literally just dumping people in concrete graves by the look of it. In biohazard outfits, of course. 2019. Mind-blowing discovery announced. 518 million year old fossil site near Dungshi River, Hubei province, China, with thousands of unknown fossils. 2018 musical Frozen opens on Broadway based on the film. Bit of a quiet year, that one. Or the 2018 again, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch between Hawaii and California is 1.8 trillion pieces of plastic. Okay. 2018 US President Trump imposes $60 billion worth of tariffs on Chinese imports. 2017, here we go. Things of interest. Terrorist attack on London's Westminster Bridge and Houses of Parliament kills 4, including police officers, and injures 40. 2017 again, the Tomb of Jesus reopens after restoration. Also, the Arctic records its lowest ever winter. 2016, suicide bombings at Brussels' Zaventem Airport and Meyerbeek metro station leave around 28 victims dead and 260 injured. ISIS claim responsibility. ISIS do seem to get quite busy on the 22nd of the 3rd, you'll soon see. The US, back in 2014, US and EU imposed sanctions. Something Guinea confirms Ebola outbreak that has already killed 59 people. That was back in 2014. Again, 2014, 43 people are killed by a mudslide. 2014, 251 people are killed after a boat capsizes. 2013, American rock band, don't care about them. 37 people are killed and 200 are injured in a refugee camp fire in Ben May, Thailand. Something about Ireland, GDP. Largest protest in Quebec's history occurs in Montreal with over 200,000 people marching against government tuition hikes. 2012, massive fires devour thousands of hectares of ancient forest and threatens wildlife on Mount Kenya. 2011, Lawrence Taylor pleads guilty for misdemeanors of sexual misconduct. Right. I'm sure there's more. Here we are. BC Ferries, Queen of the North runs aground on Gill Island, British Columbia, and sinks 101 on board, 2 presumed deaths. Ahmad Yassin, co-founder and leader of the Palestinian Sunni Islamist militant group Hamas, and bodyguards killed in the Gaza Strip. 2003, the 23rd Golden Raspberry Awards. Where else? Actually, if you go back quite a long way in history, there's some more kind of historic events. So far, Lee Rigby hasn't actually been linked as to have happened on this day. We could look when that was. US Air New Zealand to Cleveland crashes on takeoff, 27 die, 1992. Law enforcement. Clint Malarchuk of the Buffalo Sabres suffers a near fatal injury when another player accidentally slits his throat. Someone retires from NFL. US Congress overrides President Reagan's veto of sweeping civil rights bill. Yeah, there's something going back a lot further. 1984, teachers at the McMartin Preschool in Manhattan Beach, California are charged with satanic ritual abuse of the children in the school. The charges have later dropped as completely unfounded. Iran offensive against Iraq. Third space shuttle mission Columbia 3 launched. Soyuz in 1981, Soyuz 39 carries 2 cosmonauts. The Provisional Irish Republican Army exploded 24 bombs in various locations across Northern Ireland. That was 1979. I know if you go right back, there's some pretty horrible stories. Maria Ellender says Jade Goody died on the 22nd of March. I know that happened to be Mother's Day, so she didn't make it into on this day, unfortunately, but I do remember that. In fact, I've got one of a very old, before I was doing any of these, just talking about Jade Goody, before I did any of these what I consider truth videos, I remember making a video about Jade Goody, because I remember back then I was convinced that she was basically, she wasn't acting like a person on the point of about to pass away from the cancer they claimed she had. I said the way it had the story broke on Celebrity Big Brother, all seemed too convenient. I thought the whole story was made up, and then the press reported that Jade Goody died, and I thought, oh, well, I was wrong about that. I didn't back then believe that the press would report falsely about anyone dying. How times have changed. In fact, that video is out there somewhere. Could play it as a point of interest if anyone's interested. Right. Yeah, there's more deaths and massacres back in history. I will look at some of the suggestions you guys have made for what's happened. 1957, an earthquake shakes San Francisco. I would guess they couldn't fake that, but who knows. Okay, the Dutch, 1952, Dutch DC-6 crashes near Frankfurt, killing 44. Their number again. American movie star Jimmy Stewart flies his 12th combat mission, landing the 2 bomb wing on the attack in Berlin. Right, this does go back a long way. Fire destroys Hakodate, Japan, kills 1,500 people, injures 1,000. Let's see, what else have we got? Niagara Falls runs out of water because of a drought. Right, this is going back to 1865. Were they still celebrating? Was news still being faked as it is these days? I would say probably. Big change to the British Parliament, led by Charles Grey, passes the Reform Act, introducing wide-ranging changes to the electoral system of England and Wales, increasing electorate from about 500,000 voters to 813,000. Thomas Jefferson becomes the first US Secretary of State. Something about the Emerald Buddha is moved with great ceremony to its current place in Wat Phra Kaew, Thailand. And 1778, Captain James Cook sights Cape Flattery, now in Washington State. There is more. Here we go, 1622, first American Indian massacre of Europeans in Jamestown, Virginia, 347 killed. There was the Battle of the Battle of the Bulge. French defeat English. 1349, townspeople of Fulda, Germany, massacred Jews, blaming them for the Black Death. Doesn't say how many were massacred. And Stephen II elected Catholic Pope, or the 23rd. So that is historical events that happened on this day tomorrow, the 22nd of March. Of course, history is written by the winners. Who really knows what actually happened? Maria says Jade was 27 when she died. Jade's Symphony of Soul says Jade's hoaxed death to push cervical cancer. Vex. I do remember that story. Very horrible. But I was convinced she was faking it, and it was back when I couldn't really understand. I just basically did not believe the mainstream media would back up a story that wasn't true. I mean, there's a video somewhere of which I made, because she died, I believe, on the same day. No, around the same time as Wendy Richard, who also supposedly died of cancer, and I made a comparison about how well Jade Goody handled it. Phil Wright, welcome to the live stream. Thanks for stopping by. See if there's anyone else I haven't said. CC Jelly, the German wings crash hoax was on March the 24th. Wonder why they delayed it for 2 days. The German wings crash. That isn't actually something I remember, but is it? I mean, it's definitely something we can look at. I'll share my screen again in a minute. Right, bear with me. Actually, I just need to mute the audio for like 2 seconds literally, and I'll be back. Okay, thank you for your patience. Right, we'll have a look at the German wings crash, and then we'll have a look at the Jade Goody hoax and see what date that was actually on. It may well have been also Lee Rigby, see when that took place. German wings crash, 2015. I'm not sure I remember this story, to be honest. This is the BBC News. Right, French accident investigators released their final report into German wings flight 4U9525, which crashed in the Alps in March 2015, about a year later. Okay. Their evidence obtained from the cockpit voice recording and other information outlines in more detail about how the co-pilot, a 28-year-old co-pilot, brought down the Airbus. Let's see if any more numbers pop up. Flight 4U9525 took off from Barcelona Airport in Spain, heading for Dusseldorf, Germany, with 150 people on board. The Airbus 320 began travelling off the sea towards France, taking half an hour to climb 38,000 feet. It should have been a 2-hour flight, and in the first 20 minutes the pilots could be heard discussing the stopover at Barcelona with the flight attendant. This is just a breakdown. Right, at 9:33, very specific, the plane's speed increased. Air traffic control contacted the co-pilot and continued to do so over the coming minutes, but received no answer. See, believe it or not, I can't actually remember this one. 9:39, noises similar to violent blows on the cockpit door were recorded on 5 occasions over the course of a minute. The flight crew on another plane also tried to make contact by radio. In the next 93 seconds before impact, low amplitude inputs on the co-pilot's flight controls were recorded, but the level of movement was too low to disengage the autopilot. Okay. Yeah, that isn't really a story I remember, but as someone said, it missed out the popular 22nd of the third date by 48 hours. Okay. Curious, right, Jade Goody, I don't doubt she died on the 22nd either. Yep, there it is. Jade Carissa Lorraine Goody, 5th of June 81 to the 22nd of March 2009. I do remember that story. In fact, if you search for Jade Goody Wendy Richards, I misspelt the name, go to videos, this one here is probably what I'd consider the very first Truther video I ever made. It's kind of embarrassing to listen to now. I'm not sure I'd want to play it, but yeah, but yeah, it just happens to be, it was basically Wendy Richard could teach Jade Goody what dignity means, because I suggested that Jade Goody wasn't being very dignified in the way she handled her sad news. Alice Wilde, the sterilisation of teenage girls under the guise of preventing cancer. Yeah, that sounds horrific, of course. What was it other people were suggesting? I do remember Jade had, of course, she'd had a whole racism. She also took part in a racist story. Purim. Alice Wilde says, look at Purim dates. Excuse my ignorance, but I'm not 100% sure what Purim is referring to. Friday the 26th. Okay. Purim is a Jewish holiday which commemorates the saving of the Jewish people from Haman, an Achaemenid Persian Empire official who was planning to kill all the Jews, as recounted in the Book of Esther. Haman was the royal vizier to King Ahasuerus. Is this Alice Wilde? I assume this is the correct thing. Phil Wright, is Amy Winehouse Lady Gaga? It's not a connection I've ever put together. Yeah, 25th to the 26th of February for Purim, according to this. Although 2020 date, the 9th of March. So it looks like it changes every year. I guess it's done by the lunar calendar rather than... Oh, Symphony of Souls. Lady Gaga is Princess Beatrice. Interesting. I certainly will have a look. Jackie Sharp says that the plane crash in Germany was a suicidal co-pilot. Interesting. Not one I recall, to be honest with you. Lee Rigby. We will compare some faces in a minute. People suggest Lady Gaga's now around as someone else. That would be curious. Let's see. Lee Rigby, whoever suggested that. 2nd of May. So, a couple of months on. Yeah, 2205. 22nd of May, was that not the same day as the MEN Arena? Let's have a look. Arena attack. (22nd of May). Yes, they do have these key dates that they seem to like for some reason. Iman Pudama, greetings and welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the live chat. I was just thinking about the Depop agenda because I watched a video about Lilith, who is apparently associated with infertility, impotence and non-reproductive sex in Mesopotamia and later in the Talmud. Lilith, okay. Hello Misha from Oz, greetings, welcome to the live chat. You haven't missed a huge amount. I just went through a list of events that happened on the 22nd of March in previous years. It seems to be a popular day for mass death or horrific death in one way or another. Phil Wright, that plane fire in Manchester Airport mid-80s, another staged event. Iman Pudama, apparently she's an icon for some of the more esoteric feminists. Yeah, Lilith, I've definitely heard the name. We will by all means have a look at Lilith at some point. And I will just... Yeah, who are we going to look at? Sorry, plane fire in Manchester, let's see. Also, of course, what date it happened. Manchester. 1995. 1985. Sorry. Let's see. British Air Tours. We'll have to go to Wikipedia. Not somewhere I particularly enjoy going. But if ever you want the official line. CC Jelly, all disasters are hoaxes until proven otherwise. The pre-2020 way to keep us scared in our beds or planes. Absolutely correct. They did tons of numerous events which were designed to keep people in fear. And as you say, CC Jelly, pre-2020, it seemed, well, they got to 2020 and said, look, people just aren't scared enough. They're not being scared of the potential that they could get blown up. Let's just tell them, if you don't go in, you're going to make yourself ill and everyone around you ill. Absolutely ridiculous. Right, the British Air Tours flight 28M was an international passenger flight which caught fire before takeoff. At Manchester Airport, England on the 22nd of August 1985 with the loss of 55 lives. So some good dual numbers there. It was en route to Corfu. The aircraft, Boeing 737-236, previously named Goldfinch at the time of the accident, named River Orin, was flown by British Airways. It had 131 passengers and 6 crew, so that would be 137. And then during the takeoff roll, a loud thump was heard and takeoff aborted. An engine failure generated a fire. There were 82 survivors. Most of the deaths were due to smoke inhalation. Okay, not something I'm familiar with. I do remember the Zeebrugge. Jackie Sharp 22 at the Manchester Arena bombings, absolutely. And of course the person that carried out the attack at Manchester was 22 years of age. There was a load of 22s in that story. It was daft. Let's see when the Zeebrugge, was that an air or was that boat? Zeebrugge disaster. Let's just see out of interest what date that happened on. 21st of December 1979. I do remember No, it wasn't as far back as that, surely. Oh no, that's the actual boat launched. Let's see what date it happened. Do you know a strange thing actually? My mum, I remember this happening. Oh, it happened on the 6th of March, so 6th of the 3rd, 6-3. They got their number in one way or another, and it killed 193. Yeah, I remember my mother telling me that evening she had a dream about men jumping into water or something. And it's curious. I mean, on the one hand, you could say, did she have some premonition about an incident that was going to happen? But then, as we saw with the incident do you remember 9/11? They reckon that there was a lot of predictive programming even on that day. The news broadcast on the morning of 9/11 had all these sorts of references to explosions and whatnot. So it's curious how ideas can be implanted into people's heads. Right, let's have a look at the chat. Michelle from Oz, we have real flooding here at the moment. Sorry to hear that, Michelle. I hope you're safe. I'll tell you what we have here. Well, of course we have flooding all the time. Not all the time, but usually in the winter. Usually in January, actually, we seem to get floods. And it's the reasons for the flood that I think they probably fabricate. Of course, you can't fake the fact that a whole town or area is up to your ankles in water, but yeah, as I say, Michelle, I hope you're safe. And we missed you last week in last week's quiz. In case you're not aware, Mudlock Digging Up the Thames managed to retain his crown. So you're still one of only two Bobby Zones quiz champions. Right, what other incidents are people suggesting we have a look at? Apologies if I've missed your suggestion. Maria Allender. John Halliday was the creator of Paul McCartney's Liverpool Home. Ooh. People wanted me to have a look at who that singer was. I've forgotten the name now. Sorry, my mind's gone blank. Let me find it in the chat. Jack Stevens, Maria Allender says Jack Stevens is David Bowie, 100%. And Lady Gaga and Princess Beatrice and Amy Winehouse could also be suggested to be Lady Gaga. Let's have a look. One way I'm not sure about musicians, but actors is, well, it's sometimes interesting to see when they started performing. We will compare some pictures, actually. Lady Gaga, it was suggested she is the same person as Princess Beatrice. Let's have a look. Images. I would say I'm not saying they couldn't transform a person to look like both of these, but I would say she probably, look at that. What they seem to do with Beatrice is make her eyes stand out and feminize the eyes. Of course, look at that jawline. So yeah, personally, I'm not sure if I'm seeing a huge connection. Maybe, of course, they can do great things with makeup and with prosthetics and with wigs, earpieces. So who knows? Sometimes worth worth looking at their age, their height. So, Lady Gaga was born on March 86 and is 5'1". Beatrice, again they lie about these heights and stuff, 5'4", born in 88. So yeah, not far off. I wouldn't rule out the possibility. Michelle from Oz, it's been raining non-stop for 3 days. We are just getting into our kind of spring weather at the moment. I hope you're not too cut off from we know anything that you need. Can't be much fun being flooded. I've never lived anywhere which has got flooded, to be honest. I thank my lucky stars. Let's see. Look at the Duke of Kent and Jacob de Rothschild. That's Jackie Sharp's suggestion. Oh, Duke of Kent. I've got to think who that is. Or is that Philip? No, okay, I'm not familiar with this guy. And the other suggestion was, of course, Jacob de Rothschild. Wow. That was Jackie Sharp suggested that one. That is bizarrely similar, I do agree. I mean, take that picture. It's kind of the way he's looking under his eyebrows, sort of thing. The mannerisms. Again, let's look at the ages. In fact, I think, Jackie, you may have made this reference before, and I was thinking you meant Prince Philip, and I didn't see it, but look at those kind of weird pinned back ears. I'm assuming this is Prince Philip's brother or someone. Let's see, who is the Duke of Kent? When was he born? Michelle, cows keep floating down to the sea. So sad because they've just been breeded up from the fires. That is very sad. Now, of course, when I'm not sure about your infrastructure and how things are over there, but I know in this country, apparently, when it floods, it's because of the rivers, and people quite often say that they could have been avoided. And it's curious, when a government particularly want to destroy an area, they know what they're doing. Symphony of Souls, Mr. Burns, yeah, you're absolutely correct. Right, 1935, the Prince Edward. He is the first cousin of Queen Elizabeth II through their father, Prince George. Okay. Because his mother, Princess Marina of Greece and Denmark, was the first cousin of Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, Edward, is both a first cousin. Ooh. These royals like to keep it in the family by the sound of it. Just reading this bit here. Right, Prince Edward, Duke of Kent, is a member of the British royal family. He is the first cousin of Queen Elizabeth, so through their fathers, Prince George and King George VI. Because his mother, Princess Marina of Greece and Denmark, was a first cousin of Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, Edward, is both a first cousin once removed and a second cousin to the Prince of Wales and his siblings. So what would that make Philip and Elizabeth then? Surely they're second cousins, but not that that's illegal, of course. Right, and we were just looking at his date of birth, weren't we? 1935. Let's see when Lord de Rothschild was born. Jacob de Rothschild, 1936. Apparently, this gentleman is 5'11". Do you believe that? Let's see how tall the Duke of Kent's meant to be. Oh, they haven't given his height. He's definitely a strange looking person though. Let's see if they've got his height in here. Huh. So yeah, I absolutely would not doubt. Jackie Sharp, are you saying Elizabeth and Philip are first cousins? Eamon Pudama, I see that Mohammed Fayed is saying that Diana and Dodi were murdered again. I think he's right, and that was an assassination, not a psyop. They fake deaths with psyops because it's more controllable. Maybe. You are... That is one side of it. Personally, I'm not... Who knows? I don't know. I find it hard to believe that Diana was a genuine woman, but who knows? Michelle from Oz, we have a bad habit of building suburbs on floodplains. Yeah, never a good idea. Absolutely not. Eddie is also head of the Freemartins. Interesting. I'm guessing you don't actually mean the Freemartins, but let's see. Prince Edward, head of Free I know you're probably not going to find these sorts of answers in the first page of Bing, but is the Duke of Edinburgh the head of the Freemasons? Answers Yahoo. There is a head of the Freemasons, and it definitely isn't Obama. It's the Duke of York or the Duke of Edinburgh. No, the present Grand Master of the United Grand Lodge of England is Prince Edward, Duke of Kent. Interesting, whoever gave me that information. Symphony of Souls, thank you for that, I did not know that. And then there's an actual Mason down here. I am a Freemason, there is not a head of the Freemasons. If you think there is, think again. You think wrong. Each jurisdiction... where is it? Each jurisdiction has a Grand Lodge which serves the lodges under it, but is the authority of that jurisdiction. Just like every other lodge has a worshipful master, called the Most Worshipful Grand Master or something similar, but he's only there for 1 or 2 years at a time. Albert Pike is or was the founder of the Freemasons, nor was he a devil worshipper. I don't think that's true. I'm sure this Freemason believes what he's saying. Okay, thank you for that. Lord Porchester looks like Prince William's grandfather. That's Crazy Hippo Lady. Hi, thanks for joining the live chat. Let's see. Lord Porchester, to be honest, that's not someone I'm familiar with. Looks like Prince William's grandfather. I think who that is now. That Prince William's grandfather would be the Queen's or Philip's parent, I'm guessing. I'm guessing this is Lord Porchester. This isn't the one that was blown up on a boat, is it? That's... Racing manager to Queen Elizabeth II. We'll have a look at some images. CC Jelly, they use tunnels to fake deaths because they're more controllable locations. That's, I assume, a reference to Diana going in the tunnel. Apparently there is some strange, I cannot remember it specifically now, but there was some story along the lines of whoever, something to do with Diana as in mother of Isis, or it was, I don't know the story well enough, but yeah, it's very symbolic, the fact that Diana either died or was alleged to have died where she did. Okay. Michelle from Oz, rumoured to be Andrew's dad. Sorry, did I miss a... who is rumoured to be Prince Andrew's dad? Sorry. This gentleman here? CC Jelly, PSYOPs keep the mainstream media busy. Yes, they most certainly do. And the mainstream media keeps the sheep very busy, unfortunately. There's been apparently last week one of the quiz questions was about the Vaseline, which I hope we all know what I mean by Vaseline. Thank you for clearing it up, Michelle from Oz. Porchester being Prince Andrew's dad. I'm with you. Where was I? Yes, sorry, one of the quiz questions last week was about the AstraZeneca Vaseline being taken off sale for particular reasons. I did hear, again in the mainstream media of course, they said there's absolutely no reason to think that they had anything to do with people getting blood clots. Just a coincidence that these people died so close after having a shot. Now, of course, we know that's very double standards, because if a person happened to die within is it a month or something, or even 6 months of having a positive BS19 test, then they would be, of course, recorded as a BS19 death. But when we're talking Vaseline, very double standards. Right, I will just make this point again. For anyone that would like to have a crack at this evening's trivia question, it does involve you joining the stream and answering. Can anyone identify what this object is on screen? I'll be honest, this is a way to encourage people to call in, and if you do call in, I may give you a slightly less zoomed out picture of what this is, or you might get a quiz, you might get a clue, and there's one more image after this if anyone gets this right. Yeah, so if you think you can recognise what this thing on the screen is, then please get in touch. In the live stream there is a link, it will take you to StreamYard, very easy, and you can you can join that set before you've got any chance of being added to the live stream. You set your cameras, you set your username, turn off your camera, obviously unmute your microphone, and then pop in. But if that's not what people fancy doing, fair enough. But if you do want to have a go at answering that quiz question, just click the link in the pinned to the live chat. or go to tinyurl.com/bzlive2103, that being today's date. I will say, I think it was Alice Wild who wants. Do you know what, guys? I see there's a few people attempting to answer it in the live chat. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna answer it in the live chat. You'll have to get in touch if you want to have a crack at answering. And if you stay on the line for more than 30 seconds, then you get maybe a clue or something. But good efforts nonetheless. Oh, it looks like someone's popped in. Misha from Oz, I'm about to add you to the stream. Thanks ever so much for joining in. Of course, if you want to have a go at answering the question, of course. Okay, I'm going to add you now. Right, I've just got to make sure I know what I'm doing. Hello, Misha.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. It's 10:30 in the evening here, but yeah, it's nice to hear from you again.
I forgot you were going to be on this morning, and I've just finished my ironing, and then I sat down, and there you were.
Yeah, good start to your week, yeah.
Oh, I love Monday mornings.
Yeah, that's always good. For a lot of people, it's a time of dread, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I guess, but things have opened up here. We've had no cases for 60 days almost.
Wow, so I hear actually. I have heard that. Is that the whole of Australia or just your area?
Just our region. We haven't had an outbreak. My husband works in a hospital in IT, so if I'm scared of going somewhere, he just looks and sees where the cases are, and no, they're miles away. Mostly people coming back from overseas.
Okay, yep, I see. And so do you have a bit of fear about going places, or?
Sometime. I mean, I'm going back to the gym now. I've been going back to the gym for 2 weeks. I go shopping. Yep. I still wear a mask when I'm going to be very crowded with people.
Okay.
The reason being, I believe the disease is real because of the amount of money the government is spending on it.
Yeah,
my husband he raised all the cost centres for the people that are doing the testing, for the people that are in the hospitals, because they have to close down the wards each side so that they're just COVID patients in the... Well, there's not many COVID patients now, but there certainly was.
Yep.
So it is, I believe it's a real disease. I just don't think we needed to go insane over it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember someone telling me that apparently COVID is an umbrella term for all sorts of different like the common cold is basically considered COVID.
Yes, it's all part of the same family of illnesses.
Yeah,
and so this one is just, I mean, when it first started, we didn't even know how it was spreading. That's why we're all washing our hands like lunatics and whatnot. But I was scared at first, but now I'm not.
Yeah,
because I know where the people are.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's if that's what keeps you feeling comfortable and happy to carry on, then that's good. It works for you. But and I notice you say you think the amount of money being spent is kind of as proof of, at least suggests that there's something to be afraid of. Yeah.
Well, there were people who were sick with it.
Of course there are. Yeah, I know people are sick. Yeah.
It was very... Well, I'm a bit suspicious because our ABC is the same as the BBC. It's our national broadcaster. And they live streamed on Facebook the last plane to arrive in Sydney direct from Wuhan.
Okay.
Why did they live stream that?
Wuhan, where would that be? Sorry, Wuhan. Is that China? Oh, Wuhan, sorry, China,
The actual place. a direct flight
Yeah.
from there to Sydney, and
Yeah.
then within 2 weeks, there's an outbreak all over Sydney.
Yeah, that is that's a big
Very
coincidence, of course,
suspicious.
isn't it?
Well, why did
Yeah.
they just live streamed it? Just for the kicks, or were they trying to tell us something?
Yeah. Well, you never know, do you? But I mean, I personally, like I said, I believe obviously you can't deny viruses are real. People do get ill. For what reason? I know there's a lot of people that question the whole idea of like germ theory, the fact that it could even be spread from one person to another. But yeah, I think it's always good to question what you hear, and particularly when mainstream media makes such a big deal about stuff.
Well, yeah, they've made us sort of like we're totally safety obsessed.
Yeah,
Even I
that's it.
fell for that. You know, like
Yeah,
I get a flu vaccination every year because I eventually I got the flu. I didn't used to have one
right.
because I'm older now. You see, I was like, oh no, I'm young and wonderful. And
Yeah.
then the year before last, I actually did get the flu, and I got really sick. My husband and I lost a week,
Okay.
so I ended up giving it to him.
Okay. That was before you had the vaccine, was it?
Yeah, and now because I'll get it for free now. I'm so old.
Okay, I'm
But
sure.
I'm not having any of the vaccines that are coming from Europe. We're
Yeah.
making our own here in the old-fashioned way.
Okay. That's
So without that protein spike in it.
yeah, because there's, from what I've heard, apparently what's being called, I mean, because YouTube and what are quite they're quite strict on what you say about certain subjects. I refer to it
Oh,
myself
sorry, I
as,
shouldn't have said the word.
no, that's all right.
right.
You're welcome to say what you want. I call it Vaseline myself, but apparently it's not a Vaseline in the traditional sense, and I heard it
No,
referred
it's
to as
not. It's a very
experimental
new technology. Yeah.
gene
Well, we are
therapy.
actually making an old-fashioned one, and it's going to take longer.
Okay.
But then we still don't know what the long-term effects of the actual illness are going to be.
No, that's
Nobody
it.
really knows. I mean, they go on about COVID toes or COVID nose. And
Oh, I've
you
not heard
can't
any of that.
smell and you can't taste. Who knows?
Yeah. I remember one of
So,
the stories that were probably most difficult for me to swallow was it was one of the first doctors that they after I think a couple of doctors came down ill with it, and they were Chinese, and they got so ill that they turned black. Did you ever hear that one?
no.
Oh,
Well, there
I'll
was
bring
so
it up.
much coming out of China in the beginning, though. They
Yeah,
said they were burning people alive and welding them in their houses. It was
Yeah.
that scared me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I really took all that in. I mean, that's well over a year ago. I mean,
yeah.
I'm sort of a bit more red-pilled or whatever it's called now.
I'm glad to hear
But
that.
well over a year ago, I was like taking it all in, and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
oh bloody hell! I really thought it was going to be The Walking Dead. I really did. I thought, here's me not even knowing how to fire a gun, let alone do a headshot. You know.
Yeah, of course.
So you know, my guess is that is a chewed dog's bed.
Yeah, it's a huge amount. And a lot of these stories about I think they said people in Spain were supposedly, like you said, the dead bodies were piling up. Yeah, this is one story. I'm not sure if you can see the screen. I imagine you can.
I can see it, yeah.
Coronavirus turns Chinese doctor's skin black after treatment. And this was back
Oh my
in
God.
20th April last year. 2020. The bizarre reaction is thought to have been a reaction to medication the two workers were given to combat the virus. So yeah, that's and there's a little picture we can just see. To me, I think
It really does look. It does look like a person from Africa.
it does, doesn't it? It's just
I think they meant to scare us half to death so we would
Yeah.
comply. And we
Definitely,
did.
they definitely want compliance.
We went
from
into
people.
the lockdown, no questions asked. But
Yeah.
our lockdown was short. I don't know
Okay.
why Europe is still locked up. I mean, we did
Yeah.
close our borders for a little while, but yeah, there was still people sneaking in. You know, there were still planes landing on the quiet because you could see them going over. So there
Yeah.
was a lot of lies told and a lot of,
Of
but yeah,
course.
they
Yeah.
just don't seem to be. They don't seem to be using it here in Australia to control us. It's
Okay.
not all in the news. We're not being terrified of it.
Well,
We're
they
just
stopped. Yeah, over here they stopped talking about that for a bit while they talked about the Meghan Markle interview. I'm not sure whether that became big news in Australia,
oh
but
God, oh yes, yes.
yeah,
Dear,
that was about the
please
only reason
regret.
that they seemed to go off the subject for something else. Um, yeah,
It's getting way too much oxygen as well. I mean, it's really is. It should be a non-story,
yeah,
um,
of course it should.
but
Yeah,
that's to divide us. That's to make us. It's to cause racial hatred.
it
You know,
is, and yeah, it's got a lot of. They've got plenty of agendas behind the scenes, haven't they? And yeah,
well,
racism
the
is a
thing
big
is,
one.
the news. Like I said, I used to read the newspaper. I didn't watch the news. I just, you know, 'cause
Yeah,
we get like 10 minutes of news and the rest of it's sport. Here in Australia, are a bit crazy about sport.
yeah,
But yeah, once this virus started, it was just making us terrified.
of course. Yeah,
Um, and I soaked it all in like a sponge, and I didn't leave the house for months.
yeah,
I got the groceries delivered. My husband had to go to work. I used to cry every day. I would be worried sick that he would be sick because he catching the train.
yeah.
But you know, and
That
I
was
did. I
what I
said to
was
him,
doing.
"It's a hoax. It's a hoax." He goes, "No, it's not a hoax, but it's probably." We did
Exaggerated.
have exaggerated, yeah, making people really afraid.
Yeah,
But people did get sick, but almost all of them brought the disease back with them, or they caught it from someone they're living with who'd been overseas. It wasn't really spreading actually in the community, if you know what I mean. You know the difference. Like
yeah,
if your husband comes back from overseas and he's got a disease, you're likely to catch it from him, as
right.
so are your kids, and then
Yeah,
your close relatives would get it.
okay.
That
Yeah,
sort of thing. It wasn't really spreading in the community, but now we're just allowed. The only restrictions is the trains and buses. You're still required to wear a mask, but
okay,
there's no retribution if you don't. Like about 50% of people don't.
okay.
But there's no policing of it.
That's similar to how it is over here, although you do get. I mean, I don't catch buses, but I have caught the train quite a bit, and and occasionally the police will ask me, and all you've got to say is the word exempt, and they just leave you alone. So it's, although there are signs up saying that you can be fined up to £6,000 and stuff if you
Yeah.
don't wear a mask, but yeah, it's
Yeah, well, we still have a fair bit of freedom of speech here.
good.
But you over there, I see that you're getting more and more hate laws passed. It's going to be
Yeah.
like if you say anything against a woman soon, that's going to be hate speech.
Well, that's the next thing. Yeah, but that's a big one. And yeah, we looked at that in my last live stream because it wasn't something I really looked at. Generally, the main time I actually look at the news is when I do a video. Otherwise, I tend to try and avoid it. And yeah, that story is like laced with. They're trying to make the misogyny a crime now.
A hate crime, a non, yeah,
Yeah.
because the police do. I mean, because I was born in England, I'm still really interested in British politics.
Yeah. Okay.
But in the point where how it's affecting the people, not the actual politicians themselves, they're a bit dreary, as our politicians are a bit dreary as well.
Yeah.
But we do seem to have a little bit more freedom of speech in person. But of course, online, people are all over you. You know, like I don't go on Twitter; it's a cesspool,
Yeah.
and Instagram is a cesspool. But YouTube, you know, you still get channels like yours where you can hear an alternative point of view.
Yeah.
But
There's some good ones out of our Australians. But you're familiar with Anaconda Malt Liquor? Do you know that guy?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
I don't listen to many. Yours is one of the only ones that are of your type that I watch, because you
okay.
cover other things as well.
Yeah.
Like if they're really, like I wouldn't want to be watching it all the time. I like informative. I like Brett Weinstein and his wife Heather. I
Okay.
listen to the the Voice of Reason. That's quite good.
Oh,
He
that's
has a lot of conversations.
I know the guy you mean. Yeah. I
So
see. Okay. Well, I'm glad you consider me among those videos. I mean,
you
among
get
those
a
channels. Yeah.
different point of view, and it really does
Yeah.
make you think, because you don't, when you're busy and the news comes on and you listen to it, you just take it in. But I do remember what really triggered me to realize there was something wrong
Yeah.
is that very early on, they said that they were just going to shut down, shut the old people's homes. And if those people died, well,
Y-
so be it. And there was
Wow.
such a public outcry about that. And it was just really one broadcast
Okay.
that they completely changed their tune after that. But that was going to be what they did.
What, as in they were going to
Just
stop looking after people in
no, they were just
homes?
going to, just go, no visitors,
It's a
and the
free for all,
people
yeah?
that, just
Yeah.
a bit of a free for all, and basically not worry about trying to keep them safe, just not caring. And I thought, wait a minute, that
Yeah.
is just so anti our values. But they only ever said it once. It was
Was
only
that on the
one.
actual news, or was that
It was on the radio,
okay.
but it was a statement by one of the health, might have been the health minister at the time, or the
Okay.
deputy health minister. It was just a statement that was probably what they were going to have to do.
Wow.
And that just completely, and I heard it live on the radio. Well, it might have been not been live, but
Yeah.
and I thought, no, that doesn't sound right at all to me. That's not how we do things in the West. We don't just let old people die.
No, of course.
And then it was all, they still stuffed it up. I mean, because most of them are privatised, they completely, totally stuffed it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, what can you do?
That is true, and I mean, like you say, stuffed it up. I'm more of the opinion that they've kind of done a really good job in what the original objectives might have been. I believe they've probably done a good job, but I understand if you of course people think other things. We all see things from our own perspective, don't we?
Well, it's very hard to find out how many people died in nursing homes. It's also very hard to find out how many people drown at Bondi Beach.
Yeah, it is.
That's very hard to find out. It's a lot more than you think,
I'm sure it is. Have you ever been to
because
Bondi
it's
Beach?
so famous. We don't want to be known as the beach where we're losing tourists left, right, and centre.
Okay, is that a local beach to you? Is it Bondi?
Bondi Beach is one of the most famous beaches in the world. It's Bondi
Oh
Beach.
yeah, of course I know Bondi. I've heard of it, but yeah, I wasn't sure if it was local to your area.
Oh, no, that's down
No.
in Sydney. And it's the
Ah,
same with the crocodiles, where, people
yeah,
getting munched by crocodiles. We don't hear. We know it happened,
yeah,
but it's only if you think, oh, I wonder how many we're losing to the crocodile.
yeah. I suppose if they reported every time a person was attacked by a crocodile, they could make it seem like there's a big outbreak. It becomes what's flavour of the month in a way with the press, doesn't it?
Well, that's right. That's right. Well, they do keep quiet about the people drowning at Bondi, because it
Okay.
would put people off going there. It's a very dangerous beach. You can easily get dragged
Y-
out. There's got terrible rips, and I've been there. I wouldn't go swimming there if you gave me $100. No, it's very
Um,
dangerous. Much nicer beaches.
yeah, I see. Interesting.
So
Yeah, apparently where I live, Bath, we had the river. Now, I'm not the River Avon, which runs through Bath, and there was over a course of about a couple of years they kept you kept hearing about people, like students mainly, walking home drunk, and
and falling in.
yeah, and that was in fact and they've now got signs up all around it saying 5 deaths in 5 years or something, and yeah, and it's hang on, I'm just going to see if I can find the story. River Avon deaths in Bath. Yeah, no, I wouldn't. No, I don't doubt that people do. I knew someone that nearly drowned in that river. Actually, 2 men dead after being pulled from the river. This was back in. Yeah, it's kept making the news. Like, oh, this is the Independent. That's a big story. But yeah, well, I certainly appreciate you sharing your thoughts. Do you want to have a go at the identifying the image?
Looks like a chewed dog bed to me.
A chewed dog bed, not quite. But as you stayed on longer than a minute, I will give you the next slightly zoomed out image. Okay. That is the next one.
Oh.
Do you know what? I probably should have looked up the proper name for it, but yeah. Anyway.
No idea. Anyway, I'm going to get off now and let somebody else have a go.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
You know what, Misha? I think you'll probably be the only one to call in, so I really appreciate you doing that. All right.
All right. I'll talk to you. Well, I'll just stay in the chat, but I'll turn off. Leaving studio. Right. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Yeah, I really appreciate it, Misha. Yeah, if anyone else wants to have a crack at that, if they think they know what it is, like I said, I'm not going to give the results. A crazy hippo lady, if that is your guess, then please call in and at least say hello. And I think, was it Maria said, I think it was Maria said that you were shy, didn't want to call in. Fair enough, I'm a very nice person. I wouldn't, all you have to do is give your answer and I'll tell you if you're correct or not, and then you can go off. But yeah, I would like to get that little bit. Where am I going with this thought? Yeah, I would like to interact a little bit more with my audience, and I really appreciate Michelle calling in, and a couple of weeks ago I had Random Games call in. Right, I'll have a look at the live chat. Someone's talking about protests. Apparently, I watched a video and it was saying that, I thought it was tomorrow, but that I'll have to maybe try and share the video. Alice Wild, I went on Stop Iraq Invasion 1. These protests. CC Jelly, we used to play Pandemic at home, never again. Is that the game that they put on the App Store? Or was that called Virus? There was a game where you could name your own pandemic or virus. CC Jelly, Emmy is long COVID. It's interesting. I mean, I've heard about long COVID, and it looks like people with what's that breathing difficulty problems you get for life? I can't actually think of it now. But yeah, Emmy, who knows what there's a lot of things rebranded, and I personally think the most important thing in life is not to let yourself live in fear. CC Jelly, a board game. Okay, they did there was a game out, I can't remember what it's called. It might have been called Contagious or Virus or something, and it was basically just a little game on your phone where you had to create a virus and you could keep mutating it so it infected. Really strange game. Phil Wright, PK would be going crazy at her. Is that It's a Me Coffee. Hi, welcome to the chat. Hi Bobby, just dropping by with a nod and a reminder since you're live. Hope you're doing well. Hi, it's a me. I did send you an email a couple of weeks ago about your offer. I did not see a reply, so maybe I'll send you another one. I let you know that I installed the thing you suggested. Maria Ellender, long COVID is post-viral fatigue. It could be anything. And again, if anyone, like our, like Michelle wants to have a crack at guessing what this image is, right, I'm going to be going on for about another 30 minutes at the most. I am actually I do like to end these live streams with a video, so I've got a little bonus video to play at the end of this one. It's going to go on for a while, so I don't expect you to I mean, if you want to sit through it all, I probably won't, but it will be playing for about, I think it goes on for about 20-30 minutes. I'm going to play it at the end of this video. It is an old live stream that I did, which is a compilation of some of my old videos from a previous channel that got deleted. I think it's about 4 or 5 channels. In fact, you may well have seen it before. The videos are on 153 News, but I'm going to play it at the end of this live stream, just as a way of signing out. It's me coffee. Yes, I'll send you another one, okay? Because I definitely did. I'll send you another one in case you missed that one. Or I hope you've still got my email address. My email address is open actually to anyone who wants to message me. bobdesigns@gmail.com. If you want to find me on Skype, I'm also on that number. Phil Wright says they want to kill the old. It's it could certainly be seen that way. I did a video in the week where I talked about a lady just 47 years old, spent the last year of her life isolating, and I think, as I said in the video, I think it's a really sad story. People wasting the time they've got. Life, in my opinion, life is too short, life is too precious. We should be making the most of it. It's a me. I will maybe have a bit of time. I will see. It's actually okay. If you're still on, I'll send you an email at the end and see how we're getting on. Imam Pudama says people don't understand that the tests are non-specific and the cells of people who are for whatever reason release RNA. The cells are in test tubes that they infect to do too, because they add a chemical. Yeah, now I know people that have given tests and I think they poured blackcurrant juice, Ribena, into the test and it gave a positive outcome. So those rapid response tests are no way reliable. Apparently, I can't remember who told me this, those quick response tests, if you do test positive, you are then supposed to take another one, which then gets sent off to a laboratory, so they're not considered accurate enough to confirm a positive test, but they're considered accurate enough to confirm a negative. I do think, like masks, tests, and they're a way to make people feel that they're involved. You're all part of something bigger, you know. And for me, it's something I will not take part of. David, hi, welcome. It must be the second booster jab that's going to do it. My mum and dad both fine up till now. Likewise, I know a few people that have had it and absolutely fine, and I really hope that they will be after the second one. You know, it's the sort of thing you really don't want to be right about. I do know one person, I talked about him the other week, about 3 days after the Vaseline, they tested positive. They went into isolation for 14 days or 10 days or something, went back out, went back to work, and then within a week of that, they told everyone they were self-isolating until April. This was back in February, so life wasn't any better for them after. They got nothing out of it. But like I say, most people seem unaffected, and I do genuinely hope that's how it's going to continue. Let's see. It's the Tanzanian president who refused lockdown and had a goat and a pawpaw test positive is dead. Interesting. Maria Ellender, Tanzanian president, has been killed after exposing the test. Perhaps we'll have a look at him. That isn't someone I was familiar with. Tanzania president. John Magufuli. Is this the gentleman? Samia Hassan becomes Tanzania's first Of course, there's Tanzania. Is that the divisive president death? Tanzania mourns divisive president's death after mystery illness. Tanzania was in mourning Tuesday over the sudden death of President John Magufuli, an authoritarian leader and COVID skeptic who leaves behind a divided legacy and a question mark over his fatal illness. Flags flew at half-mast as the country began a 14-day mourning period after Vice President Samia Suluhu Hassan announced Magufuli had died Wednesday of a heart condition in a hospital in Dar es Salaam. Under Tanzania's constitution, Hassan should become the country's first female president and will finish Magufuli's 5-year term. The government had previously denied Magufuli was ill, as pressure mounted to explain his almost 3-week absence from public view, which sparked rumours he was seeking treatment abroad for coronavirus. Several people were arrested this week for spreading rumours over his health. Number 2, Magufuli did not die this evening. What should I say? It's poetic justice. President Magufuli defied the world on the struggle against corona. He defied science. There is no science. And what has happened. He went down with corona. I'm wondering if these are the people that got arrested for spreading false rumours. Who knows? Well, that's an interesting story. I wasn't familiar with that. Thank you. Was it Alice Wilde who made me aware of that one, or whoever originally brought that up? Maria Ellender, thank you for sharing that. And Jackie Sharp. You guys all got to it. It's Me Coffee. Did you mention it? Yeah, I appreciate everyone who made me aware of that one. Because, yeah, there seem very few skeptics in positions of power. But it would be absolutely typical that one of the high-profile skeptics goes down as dying of it. Wouldn't that be typical? Okay, I am going to start winding down very shortly. I've got about another... Yeah, I'm going to be going for about another 10 minutes or so. If anyone wants to have another crack at identifying the object, otherwise it will roll over into next week's episode or the following weeks when I next do a open lines, and you'll be able to ring in. Perhaps I should offer some sort of incentive, a prize, but we'll see. Alright, I'm going to mute the microphone for all of 2 minutes while I just clear my throat. Okay, now if anyone wants to go down in Bobby Zine's folklore as correctly identifying what the mystery object is. You've got about another 10 minutes to make contact. The link is in the live chat pinned, or go to tinyurl.com/bzlive2103. I'm sure there was other things I wanted to bring up today. Jackie Sharp, Edam Pudama. Do you know what? You could be really close, but until you make contact on the call-in, I'm afraid you're not going to get any credit. That's if you're correct. I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you're not. Come on, give us a call-in. Alice Wild, I hate nurses. That is harsh. There's a lot of nurses that... Maria Ellender, off to bed. Good night all. Thanks for the chat. It's good to be in touch with like-minded people. Maria, it's always great having you join in. You're very loyal. Always join in the live chat. Much appreciated. If you, I hope you'll be back. I'll be back again in next Sunday with another live stream. I hope you can make it to that one. And if things go to schedule, it will be a quiz night. Thanks ever so much for joining us, Maria. And good night. Have a great week. It's a Me Coffee. It's an interesting one, but you just gotta make contact. Click the link, the pinned link in the live chat. Join StreamYard. Put in a name. Switch your camera off. Enter the show, and I'll bring you in, and you can have your guess. Let's see, someone was suggesting Jackie Sharp, do a quick face check of Barbara Bush and Alistair Crowley, always fun. I will do that. There's another person I will also check. Barbara Bush. Actually, you're probably very accurate with this one. And the other one was Alistair Crowley. Yeah, there is a freakish similarity, but I'm guessing they're different ages, but it's not to say Barbara isn't. She was born in 1925. Alistair Crowley was born... Sure, it was a lot earlier than that. 1875, yeah. But could very well be the offspring. Either that or a supernatural entity that just lives through the ages. I don't know if anyone... I used to read Stephen King books, and there was Pennywise the Clown. They've made a film about it recently. And how he just keeps living, he keeps coming back. And there was another one, a really old book by Stephen King. I think it was about a king and how he had advisors, but he just had the same advisor. Crazy Hippo Lady, it's his son. I was going to look someone up. Now, on that, I wouldn't be at all surprised if that was his son. Right. Albert Einstein. See if anyone agrees. This person has a weird resemblance to... Now, I'm not for 1 second saying they're the same person. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Obviously, one of them's African American, you might call him. Where was it? There's an image of these two. I'm not sure if anyone else sees it, but I do. Of course, you've got to have the same pose going on. They kind of got the same eyes, the same nose, the same moustache, the same hair. If this guy would let us grow. And they're both pushing, pushers of what's it, orbital mechanics, space theory, all that stuff. Theoretics, they're all big theoretic believers. CC Jelly, Private Eye always had a lookalike section. Are they related, perhaps? Curious. There's loads. I'm not sure if there would be much interest in people in British soaps, but I'm convinced, not only British soaps actually, all programmes seem to do it. It's very well known in like theatrical, drama companies, for example. If you're doing a play, you're going to get people playing more than one role, for example. Coronation Street, Nick Tilsley. Nick Tilsley. And then, so this is meant to be one guy, I don't know his real name, but we'll find out. Adam Rickett. No, that's the old one, I thought. Adam Ricketts was an old guy, wasn't he? Ben Price. Okay, and I'll show you. They then brought another character in, who is the absolute spitting image. Corey. Oh, what's her name? What's the name of that? One that's with Peter Barlow. Peter and not Leanne. I'll just go for characters. He's not a well-known. He only played a bit part, but he is absolutely a dead ringer for the character played by Nick. Jackie Sharp. Einstein was a character actor like Stephen Hawking with his varying lengths, teeth length. Yep, completely agree. Well, I don't disagree anyway. I wouldn't be at all surprised to find that was real. I just had someone else come to me. Carla, that was it. Carla Connor. It was someone who tried to whisk her off her feet. I just want to find the name of the guy. Sorry, we won't be talking about Coronation Street for too long, for people that are used to more. Right, Lucas. Yes, that's it. This is the Glenn Wallace actor. I'm not convinced. I mean, I could be wrong, but these two. Right, go to images. They look so alike to me, and it's always curious to see when they first. Right, he was born May '76. Ben Price was born January '72. Okay, so there's a good 5 years in it. But it's always worth looking. When are they first credited as an actor? When did they get their first ever part in a role? Filmography. Right. 1997, the guy who plays Nick first got into it. Glenn Wallace. Was he acting back in 1997, by any chance? Let's see. Okay, 2003 actually was his first role. So 6 years in it. But yeah, he has such a striking. Right, there's another last comparison I'm going to do for Corrie is Sally Webster and Kevin Webster's sister. Can't think of her name now. Kevin Webster sister. There we go. I've searched this before, believe it or not. What's her name? Debbie Webster, played by... Anyway, this one, she looks so much like the character of Sally, ridiculously so. Like the face, just weirdly, just an eerie similarity, and it leads me to believe, well, are we saying that because these people on television, they never reuse an actor for a second part? Jackie Sharp, did you check out images of Piers Morgan and Patsy Stevenson? That is funny. Do you know what? I did not, because I wasn't 100% sure who you were referring to with Ginger Patsy, but now I've got a second name. Right, David, but that's how you get on easier if you look like someone else before you. Maybe, but I'm just not convinced, because these people are both in the same episodes together, and they've always got their back to each other. Right, so let me see the name. Patsy Stevenson, we'll have a look. Yeah, I wasn't sure, Jackie, what you were referring to when you were talking about a Patsy. And then we'll also look at Piers Morgan. Images. Are we suggesting this is Piers Morgan? Or is that... I know who this is now, I'm with you. Is this the person that was pinned down in an act of misogyny? Now, I brought up earlier, misogyny is now going to be made a criminal offence, which is fair enough, okay. But apparently they cannot make laws against... which protect only women. Or I think you can't have sexist rules. Yeah, are we suggesting this looks like Piers Morgan? I suppose it could do a bit. Clearly a lot younger, although they can do a lot with... okay, now we're going on to other people. Yeah. I'm not seeing a huge similarity. It's Me Coffee, thanks very much for that. Okay, thanks It's Me Coffee. I will check it out at the end of this, which is going to be in about 5 minutes. Yeah, that was very staged. She branded the Met Police as disgraceful, claiming cops threw her to the floor. Always male police, of course. Absolutely ridiculous. Phil Wright, absolutely agree. Einstein's another faker. Yeah, Jackie Sharp. I'm not seeing it, to be honest. Maybe it's... I suppose she does have kind of like a resemblance. Are we thinking perhaps it could be... I mean, does Piers Morgan have any daughters? I mean, there's a picture of him back when he... Yeah. I guess I could see sort of where you're coming from. Oh. Phil Wright, born a woman, dumb as a box of rocks. Are we referring to Piers? Because, yeah, I wouldn't look at that flat forehead. Absolutely agree with you on that. Or you want about Einstein? Okay, it appears no one wants to, just before we wind down, 5 minutes to go. No one wants to call in and have one last guess at what this object is. And if you stay on the line for a minute, you'll get to see the next image. Up to you. Jackie Sharp, the bone structure. Do you know what? I'm not disagreeing with you, actually. Let's see. You never know. There could be like a face mask, the Piers Morgan, and they just reuse it. Yeah, I kind of see where you're coming from. He has got very feminine features, that's for sure. Redheads without freckles are freaky. She probably, who knows what she is, like no doubt a wig. Who knows if it's even a she. Phil Wright, check out how many times they have the fake ball earth on show in TV programs. It is absolutely everywhere. The ball earth, you cannot go far without spotting it. I mean, if I go to, I don't know, a new tab on here, how long until we see an image of it? Well, the background is okay. It probably won't show up now, but yeah, you don't have to go far without seeing a picture of that, David. Phil Wright brought that up. Jackie Sharp, you think they come from a few hatcheries? No idea. Who knows how they do it, what they're doing. Right, as I said, guys, I'm going to have to start winding down for the evening. I do have a video, although the video I tried to play earlier, E-Man says it's a copper's face. Could imagine both Patsy and young Piers on the bill. Yeah, very, very true. Now you mention it. Who is Patsy? I could at least read the article, couldn't we? Patsy was one of the people arrested. She branded the Met Police disgraceful, claiming cops threw her to the floor. Why did they go so rough on these people? Was it because the cameras were there filming it, or was it because they weren't distancing or some rubbish? Or was it just because that's what the director told them to do, eh? That's my guess. Why is Patsy Stevenson arrested? Scenes turned ugly on March the 12th as cops dragged people away, where hundreds gathered to pay their respects. Reclaim these streets had planned an organised vigil for Sarah, but it had been called off after police threatened to fine the organisers 10,000 each for breaking COVID lockdown restrictions. Stevenson was arrested during the vigil, said it was disgraceful for cops to break up what she said was a peaceful protest. Good night, Phil. Thanks for taking part in the live chat. Always good to communicate with you all. It's getting late. I'm getting jumbled. It's me coffee. Patsy was the provocateur, absolutely. Of course she was. I expect hundreds of people that genuinely turned up at that, the police probably walked straight by. In fact, when you listen to people being interviewed, they'd say about, oh yeah, we waited for the police to come down, or some rubbish. Alright, okay, I'm going to start calling an end to it now, as no one else seems to want to join the stream, which is fair enough. I understand. You've got a couple of minutes if you do want to have another guess, but don't worry if you don't. This video is a compilation of I think about 4 or 5 videos that I did years ago on my previous channel. Jackie Sharp, good night, take care. Symphony of Soul, left, right, absolutely. David, forgot about Black Lives Matter and Everard yesterday was real in London. Everard. Forgot about Black Lives Matter and Everard. Yesterday was real in London. Right, okay. I'm not familiar with that. Right. Where's our... Okay, we have got a video ready to play, and yeah, it goes on for a while. Let's just check how long this video goes on for. 35 minutes. Now, I'm not going to be monitoring the live chat. It's going to be playing out for 35 minutes. If you want to catch some more of my old stuff that's been taken down, then good for you. This next 35 minutes is for you. Otherwise, you can catch this on... You can catch it on 153 News. The link to that is in the description. The only thing I was a bit concerned about was that a video I tried to play earlier didn't actually work. Perhaps I've got too much stuff going on. Right. Okay. Thanks absolutely everyone that took part in the live chat. Going right back to, and a particularly big thank you to Michelle from Oz, who called in for a second time. It's always great having a chat with her. It just goes to show we've all got our own opinions. I don't necessarily agree with everything she, or that we all say and that we all think. I've read stuff in the chat that I don't necessarily agree with everyone. And that's what makes us great. We're all entitled to our own opinions. So thanks to everyone who's shared theirs in the live chat. I will be back next Sunday. Might well be back before that with another video. It's me. Catch you in a mo if you click in. Yeah, give us 10 minutes. It's me, alright? And I'll see what it's all about. Okay? Yeah, give us 10 minutes. Huge thanks to everyone. Right, I'm going to see if this video plays smoothly. Otherwise... Yeah, my computer seems to be going quite slow. I may need to shut something down. Right. Not ready to play just yet. Okay, this is the video. Deleted videos from my Obby Lounge channel. As I said, thanks massively to everyone. Phil Wright, I don't want to start naming people because I might miss them. But yeah, the usual suspects. I hope to see you all back next week. Have a great week. And thanks for joining in as always. Okay, this is the video. Hopefully it's going to play. And then once this video's done, I'll then end the stream completely. Right, good night all. I'm going to have a go at playing the first video I ever put up on YouTube as Obby Lounge. I did have a video years ago. And greetings to anyone who joined me from 153 News. I did put a little promo video up on there promoting this live stream. Because I actually find now, I put a video up on YouTube yesterday about cameras, and I put the same video up on 153 News, and it's got more views on 153 News than it did on YouTube. Definitely a good place to upload videos if anyone thinking of making any. A few people in the chat, really appreciate that. Breezy Trees and Mudlark Digging Up the Thames for the chat. Looks like you two are my only viewers at the minute. Right, we're going to start with, like I said, my first ever video. It's a bit out there. I grew up in Bath, I work in Bath, and I often walk past these monuments, obelisks, and I happened to notice that there were a row of them, 3 of them. So this video, I forget the actual title, I think it was called Obelisks in Bath, tracing the line from Bristol to Winchester. Because yeah, you'll see, these obelisks make a perfectly straight line. I don't know if any of you originally saw this one. I got 4 videos actually to share from my original Obby Lounge channel, which was deleted probably about 6 months ago now. YouTube took it down, which I received, a bit odd actually, I received 2 community guideline strikes, and then they all cleared up. I went to check if I could live stream again, and then very quickly, after going literally 3 months barely touching Obby Lounge channel, because I'd started Bobby Zones, and I got 3 strikes within 24 hours and that channel was gone. Now I did think the same was going to happen to this one, Bobby Zones, because I got a community guideline strike, and then 3 months later, and I checked live streaming, I wasn't able to, but then a couple of days later it popped up saying I could. So I'm pleased about that. Anyway, right, I'm now going to try and play the video. Okay, this is about obelisks in Bath. Following that, we'll get onto some of my more current videos that I do. But yeah, like I say, the first video I ever did. Hey everyone, is that if you draw a straight line from Winchester to Bristol, you can see something that I kind of find quite curious. Now, we'll take a look at my hometown of Bath, where I grew up. I was walking through there the other day, through Victoria Park, along Royal Avenue, where we'll get to in a second, and realised I walked past this monument, Royal Avenue. Now, as you can see, there is an obelisk, supposedly erected by Bonash, I believe. And I realised, hang on, that's almost kind of directly in line with the obelisk in Queen Square. Also, as I found out, erected by Bonash, again, someone who lived in I think it was 1730s, he was living in Bath. So again, as you can see, Queen Square, it's a bit difficult to see because of all the trees, but if we move down a bit, you can definitely see the base of it and maybe the tip of it through the trees, but it's definitely there. So I thought, hang on, those two are in alignment. Let's see what happens if you follow the path they're taking through the city of Bath. You get to Orange Grove, and here for some reason there's a 3rd obelisk. So I thought, okay, draw a line down the middle of them, and what do you see? They're all in perfect alignment from Royal Avenue straight through to Orange Grove. So I thought, I wonder, where does it get to if you follow this line a bit further? If we go west to Bristol, and curiously enough, like I said, Queen Square in Bath, and it lines up perfectly with Queen Square in Bristol. And what do you know, there is another park, there's a monument there, not an obelisk this time, but it's another very fancy park with these buildings, all very similar themed buildings, and they seem to have this, we'll take a look, triangular roof with a circle in the middle. And this is something you see on buildings all over the place. There's loads of examples you could find if you go into your nearest town or city. Anyway, we'll take a look a bit further up. You come to, and that line will take you up to the Museum of Art Gallery in Bristol. So follow it down, this time towards the east, and I noticed it cuts through quite a few places, Durrington being one, Bradford on Avon, and eventually you come down to Winchester. And slap bang in the middle of Winchester, you find a place called Peninsula Square. We'll have to move over to Google Maps for this to take a look around the area. And once again, you get this triangular building, buildings with triangular roofs with the circles. Is it just a coincidence that all three of these places follow this red line that I drew, which seems to take you from Bristol? Now, if we change the view and go to actual what they claim is satellite imagery, take a look at some of the places. Local prison. And have a look around Peninsula Square, and you can see again the triangular roofs. There is the pond in the middle. Now, originally, just as point of reference, the obelisk in the middle of Queen Square in Bath had a big pond around it, but that has since been removed. I mean, perhaps you could draw a straight line through any area in England, and it would coincidentally line up with these places as a Palestine just off the track. Okay, so we'll go on to Wikipedia and take a quick look at thing on obelisks. And if you see under ancient obelisks in Egyptian, the obelisks symbolized the sun god Ra. Okay, this is Ra, a sun god. Freemasons have a lot of control in the way cities and areas are planned out. And I came across this video on YouTube. It is about someone who came across a Masonic Holy Bible, particularly this bit at the very within the first couple of minutes.
Yeah, Mason Bible, totally demonic. Well, for Masonic use, so they've got alternate.
I'll leave a link to this video in the description.
But what really shocked me the first
about
time
to show. There you go, you've got Ra just on the end there. Sorry, just that one there.
Amen, the Father of God, the Creator, published in the Freemason.
Yeah, I begs the question, why is there 3 statues dedicated to the sun god Ra? And why would Bonash particularly erect them? Why do they line up perfectly with Queen Square in Bristol and Peninsula Square in Winchester? I'm going to take a bit of a closer look at, and apparently there's a video on YouTube, Riddles in Stone, here. I've not watched it yet, but I think it could be of interest. I'll leave links to both of these videos in the description. Comments and questions welcome, and I'll try and bring some more videos out. This is my first one, so if it isn't very good, give us a break. But like I said, give us a subscribe if you want to catch my next videos. Take care. I hope you found that entertaining. As I said, that was the first video I did. I did have a plan to sort of look into the architecture of Bath and its surrounding areas. I did think that was kind of almost creepy, the way these people that obviously have an interest in obelisks and what that means, sun god worship and whatnot, and how they have such a control over the planning of towns and whatnot. I know Washington makes up some sort of broken pentagram if you trace all the obelisks there. But then I decided to start making videos pointing out the absolute lies that were in the media. Around that time, yeah, a few terrorist attacks happened. Going back to the chat, did you ever Mudlark digging up the Thames? Did you ever see the news a few days ago? Wayne Marquez, the police officer who was supposedly stabbed in the head in the Southwark terrorist attack, will soon be back on duty. Unfortunately, Mudlark, I didn't see that. I do avoid the news as much as I can. Southwark, I'm not massively familiar with that one. Oh, greetings Tommy Lynch, thank you for joining us, much appreciated. Yeah, just a recap, we're going through some of the videos that when my Obby Lounge channel was deleted, they've since been off air. The reason I did this, I did get a request the other day for a video, and I have managed to upload some of them to 153 News. But these are some of the ones that haven't made it up. Now the next video I'm going to share, Mudlark just saying sorry, that was the London Bridge terror incident. That must be Wayne Marquez. No, I haven't heard on that one. Doesn't surprise me. I am still waiting for, there was one guy, I made a video actually. It's not one of the ones that we're going to be looking at today, but I might bring it up in a future live stream, where a mother, I can't think what her name was now, but she said her son had a 7-inch scar across his stomach like a day after he got stabbed by, that was at the Borough Market attack, and I was always very curious how he could have a scar within one day. So I'm always waiting now for that guy to come up and show us his scar. Hi, this is my video on why I question the whole concept of satellites, particularly communication systems, like I'm covering in this video. Of course, I could well be wrong. Very aware people have opposing opinions on this. You're more than welcome to leave your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you. Walk down most streets in Britain and you'll probably see a common sight on one side of the road or another, a satellite receiver. As far as we know, at least those who have ever given them much thought, this is receiving TV transmitters from a satellite floating above the Earth. Now what an incredible invention, beaming transmissions from one side of the world to the other. Of course, beaming is an interesting choice of words, as it doesn't specify if these radio waves are transmitting or merely reflecting the signal coming their way. At this point you might be asking yourself, is this a flat Earth video? No. For the purposes of this presentation, when questioning the functionality of a system, we're going to assume why would they concoct a story about how TV broadcasts are delivered, as I'm specifically looking at the use of the Astra satellites that Sky Television use here in the UK, and who am I to even question it? Well, I'll answer the latter part of that question and tell you I'm not an electrical science engineer, I'm not a theoretical physicist, I'm not a telecommunications expert. But I am a person with enough common sense to at least query the vague, sometimes contradictory explanations we get for how all that machinery up there works. I also think I know when something doesn't sound right. As for the earlier part of that question, why would they fabricate satellites? That might be a tougher question to ask, but stick with me and see what you think. So let's ask, what do satellite dishes, or parabolic antennae as they're actually called, do? The simple way to answer that is to say they're receivers of radio waves and microwaves, which are actually a type of radio wave, such as the ones we've been broadcasting from one continent to another for the past 100 years or so. Although obviously the frequencies used and the amount of data that can now be transmitted has grown and matured. Just like the huge dishes you see that are not actually beaming out signals as I always assumed, are also receiving radio waves. And they are actually called telescopes, so they are monitoring the heavens in the form of radio waves. The idea that a TV transmitter, some of which are enormous and require their own separate power generators, which output TV, radio and telephone signals in the form of radio waves, could be scaled down to something the size of a truck and run off no obvious power supply is a bit of a head scratcher, especially considering the distances covered. Take the Mendip transmitter near Wells in the UK. Now, this is the tallest structure in the southwest of England and delivers to a large area of the southwest. Now, there are at least 30 more of these transmitters used to distribute digital TV across the UK. However, when satellites are used, they somehow manage to do exactly the same using just 2 or 3. And bear in mind, these orbiting satellites are not even anywhere near the UK. According to a Sky engineer I was talking to recently, the satellite that beams out the signal received by the dishes on people's homes is in a state of freefall above the equator. Now, I struggle to get my head around how it is possible to stay in perfect alignment with stationary dishes that are attached to people's houses. I know you have to be an engineer in science to work out the technicalities of how much force would be needed to maintain the same speed of fall for an infinite amount of time, but we even see these satellites getting launched from space shuttles, or at least that's what the CGI pictures illustrate is happening. And the whole idea of geostationary objects that stay in the same spot relative to the Earth is an example of gravity becoming very selective. Some sources will tell you it is the curve of the Earth that makes this possible, but that doesn't make sense unless gravity's pull is coming from below the Earth, certainly to one side or the other. You also have to ask how a geostationary satellite can be immune from the downward force of gravity. If we explore the origins of satellite communications, we'll see once again science owes a lot to science fiction. Just like the moons of Mars, it was a science fiction writer who first proposed the idea. Arthur C. Clarke in 1945 wrote an essay on the concept of communication satellites, and it took just 12 years for this idea to grow from mere fictitious fantasy to an actual fully working, fully orbiting piece of equipment in the form of Sputnik 1. Well, at least that's according to the news. Since then, the idea has really caught on, and there are now somewhere in the region of 8,000 orbiting satellites being tracked. But for now, for the sake of simplicity, we're just focusing on the ones used to broadcast Sky TV to homes in Britain. These are referred to as Astra 28.2 degrees east. This name comes from the direction these parabolic antennae are required to point in order to receive the signal. But again, this raises questions. Looking at a globe, you can draw a line going north from, say, Tralee in the south of Ireland, and working out the direction of 28 degrees east is a fairly simple process. Then, do the same in Aberdeen, East Scotland, both areas within the footprint of Astra 28.2 degrees east, and it will become clear that 28 degrees east is not the same direction from each location. The lines actually point to a completely different area of the sky. Looking for specifications on the Astra satellite Sky make use of is difficult. Wikipedia seemed to have the most information. I expected there to be pages and pages of specs to read through, but what is offered is minimal. That one of the sites offering information was called Lying Sat didn't go unnoticed either. One question I get asked often when I bring up my suspicions around satellites is, so how do you think your smartphone works? This is usually asked by a person who has no idea how a smartphone works. I can confidently say, having taken apart a few smartphones in my time, that none of them, least of all not one that has ever been commercially released, can connect to a satellite. I would invite anyone who believes otherwise to take apart any smartphone and identify the transmitter inside that can broadcast microwaves in all directions the required 1,000 miles or so. If you've ever been in a poor 3G signal area, you'll know how quickly a phone battery drains when looking for a nearby mast. Now, you may have SatNav on your phone, but it is almost backward thinking to believe the only way your position on Earth could be worked out is by relying on floating computers in space. If you're interested to know how navigation services are offered on your phone, look up AGPS or Assisted GPS for some answers. You have to ask what benefit a satellite system of communication would be. We already have a perfectly good infrastructure for broadcasting radio waves on the ground. So if you have the option to use this reliable, effective method, why would you instead opt to invest in an expensive, complicated system that involves launching computers into outer space? Think of the difficulties maintaining, updating and connecting to a system that is always in a state of freefall in the vacuum of space and costs billions of pounds just to launch. One subject I'm yet to touch on is the ionosphere, a layer of electrically charged atmosphere starting around 200,000 feet up. This has been used to bounce telecommunication radio waves off for decades and is something I feel is far more likely being used. It's certainly possible overhead objects in the sky could transmit radio waves, at least in the case of internet delivery. Look at projects such as Google's Project Loon, for example. I would like to ask any experts in the field of broadcasting who happen to watch this, hypothetically, I'm convinced satellites are a lie, another way to convince us our governments have mastered space travel and justify the huge amounts of taxpayers' money being spent on nonsense such as the International Space Station. A final point to those that believe they have seen satellites passing across the night sky in the form of tiny dots of light. To my knowledge, satellites do not have external lights on them, and even if they do, what kind of bulb are they using that can project a beam of light such a distance, and where is the power coming from? Type out a message. Right, yeah, that video, I didn't really get much information on whether or not there was CCTV cameras, but I did happen to go down to London. I'm trying to think when it was, maybe September last year, possibly, and I met with a couple of other YouTubers, and we went around Borough Market, and I saw for myself there was 100% a CCTV camera at the entrance to the Black and Blue. For some reason we don't see any of it. We don't even see a blurred bit where all the violence is cut out. We see nothing. We see no still photos of Roy Larner at the restaurant, and I'm always very suspicious about that. Tommy Lynch is asking about, was there any witnesses? I imagine there probably was witnesses to, well, supposedly witnesses. There should have been loads of them. In fact, another one of my early videos was of a couple of women who did witness it. That one isn't part of this live stream, but I might bring that up on the next one. My next video is about Salman Abadi and how many different pictures there are of him and how they all kind of look a bit weird, a bit photoshopped. This next one is the many faces of Salman Abadi. Okay, this is a quick video just to take a look at the many faces of Salman Abadi. Now, Abadi, of course, was the man supposedly that carried out the attack at the Manchester Arena on the 22nd of May, which coincidentally 22 people were killed and Salman was 22 years of age. Now, I do have a few problems with this story, namely that I don't believe any of it. Here, I just want to take a look at all the different pictures we've seen of him and ask the question, which one is the real Salman? Now, you may think all these people look quite similar, although this guy looks nothing like, although it's a very blurry picture, which they all are, this guy looks nothing like this fella, or this fella, or this fella. If we scroll through some of these pictures, another person we come across is this guy. We have a close-up. This is supposedly after he was arrested, and I sort of have a bit of a problem with this picture. I mean, here's his head coming down here, and his shoulder just doesn't look right to me. You'd expect his neck this width, his shoulder should sort of come out here, and the other one more here. I don't know, something doesn't look right about that picture. It's like he's stuck his head through a hole in the wall. Now, as you can see with this guy, he's got kind of some strange teeth. They don't quite look natural, again in this picture, until you come here. Well, actually, we'll go back to this one. You can see he's got these 4 teeth here, and then he's kind of got a gap. And this one here, which would be his left front tooth, protrudes and it's a lot bigger than the right front tooth, followed by a gap. If we go to this picture here, you can see there are no such problems with those teeth. Both look to be more or less the same size from what we can see here, and there's no gap here. Obviously, people can lose teeth throughout their different ages. Now, here's another picture of someone that looks completely nothing like any of the other pictures we see of Salman. This is, of course, the picture where he was captured on video, randomly taking out the rubbish wearing a strange outfit. As you can see, again, looks nothing like any of the other pictures. And of course, this famous picture, which a lot of people have pointed out, the shadows are not facing in the right direction. Here the sun is coming from their left. On all these 3 people, the shadows are on their left shoulders. Except when you come to Salman, and the sun has turned to the other side of the sky and is now coming down on his right shoulder. So something definitely not right about that picture. And then it brings us to this photo. A very fast Photoshop job, if you ask me. And the reason you can tell that is because later on, they go on to use a better picture, a better version of the picture, much cleaner, without all the pixelation, where they've actually taken a bit of time, but you can still see a bit of ghosting, a bit of lines coming around the face. Very straight line here. They all look Photoshopped to me. Of course, your comments and questions are welcome. Let me know your thoughts. My conclusion from this is all these pictures of Salman Abadi are Photoshopped. Hey guys, welcome back. You'll notice it shows how old this video is. There was a link to my VidMe channel. Of course, VidMe went, I believe it went around Christmas, didn't it? Got one more video left to share. Next video is about Martin Hett. I did one about his parents and how they show zero grief. That is something that carries on every time you see them interviewed. One of our viewers today, Tommy Lynch, pointed out about the two sets of parents that Martin Hett had. Very confusing. I believe it was Tommy Lynch, I'm sure it was. And he came to the conclusion that his mother kind of goes by two different identities and could be either his stepmom or his biological mum. All very confusing, like I say. Okay, so we'll watch the last video from the Obbie Lounge archive, and then okay, without further ado, Martin Hett's theatrical funeral in the words of his mother. Okay, what an absolute mockery this Martin Hett's theatrical funeral, in the words of his mother, is. It appears any Z-list celebrity that wants to get their name recognised, pop along, turn up at the funeral, you'll get highlighted. Can you believe this 29-year-old person had already planned out his entire funeral, according to his mum? This is the mother who I featured in one of my videos that was comparing Martin Hett's grieving parents to the Kubler-Ross model. Now, a couple of people came out and said that, of course, people grieve differently. In fact, this is how their family were for a week when they lost someone. To which I say, well, even beyond a week, this family is still showing zero grief. Oh, by the way, Mariah Carey recorded a message from Martin. She was good friends with him, apparently. As were some fraud off of Radio 1, Nick Grimshaw, I believe he's called.
Hello everyone, it's Nick Grimshaw here from the Radio 1 Breakfast Show. And Martin
See that? Can you believe
came
that?
into my life through Twitter, and his tweets always been shared by...
Okay, they keep going about Martin Hett's Twitter account. By the way, look on Twitter for Martin Hett. I couldn't find him. If anyone can find his Twitter account, I'd be curious to read it. Also, who has a funeral in the town hall? That's not the most familiar place you'd have it, is it? But I suppose when you've got as millions of loving admirers as Martin Hett has, then perhaps, yeah, you do hire out the hall. We can listen to a bit more of Nick Grimshaw lying about someone he'd never met.
friends, and me and my group of friends and everyone at Radio 1 always commenting on how funny, how sharp and how hilarious Martin was with his social media.
What a load of crap. It shows us some pictures. Interesting thing about Martin Hett, the only pictures you see of him all seem to have been taken around the same time, where he's got exactly the same haircut and more or less the same facial hair growth. Apparently Gail from Coronation Street turned up at the funeral, as all did these phonies and frauds. Of course, Ariana Grande sent some bullshit message. She's a liar and a fraud. And Martin Hett was a huge fan of Michelle Nobody McManus, who I believe was on The X Factor or some other load of rubbish program. So of course she gets to get her name on television, doesn't she? And by the way, like I said, according to the mother, Martin had already planned his funeral. In fact, if you do a search for Martin Hett's theatrical funeral, you get links to loads of accounts, but they now appear to have updated their website or removed it altogether. It's only okay, but they still mention the theatrical funeral. Now, theatrical, that means the whole thing's acted out, just in case you're not familiar. So they're basically making fun of you to your face, saying that, yeah, this is a theatrical funeral, guys, but no one gets it. It's even attended by actors. I mean, who has a televised funeral? What an absolute joke. And not only a televised funeral, but a televised funeral that was planned by the 29-year-old person before they died. I mean, apparently he wanted 2 white horses to drag him to the place. I wonder if he knew that Z-list celebrities would be trying to get a bit of promotion off him. Like I said, we've got Mariah Carey giving a little message, raising her profile. We've also got this guy, Manford, who was obviously another great mate of him, giving a bit of a message. That's to him lying as well.
Why are we spoken? Why do we feel so sad? And why have some of us been crying over this?
What this guy's saying is, why are we sad? Why are we crying over this boy, this person? Shouldn't we all be really happy? Let's let him lie a bit more.
Boy with a Deirdre tattoo.
Oh yeah, apparently, obviously, this guy made it in the newspapers probably not very long ago, just to showing off a tattoo he had of Deirdre Barlow or some rubbish like that.
The world's changed, and if you want to be sad, you be sad. It's up to you how that manifests itself in your own personality. The world has been robbed of a potential superstar, of an actual superstar. You only have to look at Martin's social media, his odd telly appearances, to see some of the interviews given by family and friends, to know that in some way or another, be it before or after he was taken from us, he's obviously touched a lot of people's lives.
So what he's saying is, look guys, there's nothing weird about the fact that his mum hasn't shed a single tear for him, and is absolutely fine with the fact that he was taken so young. Want to hear her talk?
My name's Martin, I'm 27 and I'm from Manchester.
He was just a bundle of fun. He was somebody you would probably want to be with. He was sort of the life and soul of the party.
Like I said, notice the fact he's always got the same hairstyle in every single picture you see him in.
Before social media and the internet, he had video cameras that were never off his hands because he was always filming.
I even have a cat that I called Emily Bishop.
I think he just put his whole life on media, didn't he? On social media, I think.
I think he just thought he was some kind of... He always thought he was a star and famous. And gonna... Little did we know that in his own sort of social media world, he was famous.
Hello from Michelle McManus.
Hello, this lovely darling came all the way to see me and I am so happy.
I personally knew he was very active, but it's only after his death that we realised the extent of just how...
Yeah, I'll leave the links to these websites in the description if you want to see them for yourself, but they're pretty painful to watch. Martin Heck funeral, Ariana Grande bombing back in June. Complete fraud, mate. Okay, your comments and questions are welcome. Thanks ever so much. That video actually suffered with something that some of my early ones did, where it would get this black flashing. Now that was caused by a type of software I was using to screen capture, and every time I moved the cursor it would make the image flash. I don't use that anymore. I now use OBS, Open Broadcast Software, to do all my videos. Free software. I'm using it now to live stream. It's got a load of features. It does take a little bit of work to learn how to do it. But anyway, yeah, going back to Martin Hecht. For me, that was a good example of why you could possibly watch the news today, see a story, a bit of an outrageous story, a bit of a stupid one, like a guy gets his favourite soap character's face tattooed on his leg, and say, well, why would they fake that? What reason would they have? It's a bit of a parallel with that Stoneman Douglas guy. At one point they featured on the local news in America that he had had a falling out with a lifeguard on a beach. I mean, how is that? And you see the footage and he's saying, oh, I put my trash can on a bin and the lifeguard told me you're not allowed to do that. Now, why would that make local news? But again, what would be the point in faking it? And for me, it just shows you that when you see a news story and you think there's no possible reason I'd want to fake that, there's no motive for it, there could be. It could just be padding for a particular character. Personally, do I think Martin Hecht was a real person? Maybe. No, probably not. I mean, obviously it was a real person playing the part, but some people might have gone to school with Martin Hecht. Perhaps they did know him. Personally, I don't, so I don't know. I mean, some people, for example, do believe the news, without question. I'm certainly not one of them, and I assume everything I see on the news is fake, unless I can prove otherwise. I mean, that funeral was absolutely ridiculous, wasn't it? Down at the town hall, a load of celebrities who never knew the guy. They might claim they did. Oh yeah, we followed him on Twitter. They didn't know the guy at all. And it just became like a publicity stunt for everyone. And now, of course, one of my Bobby Zones videos, I'll show how Coronation Street now have a plaque in memory to Martin Hecht. And right next to that plaque, the Co-op and Costa have paid the makers of Coronation Street to put their products on display, so product placement. And is that what Martin Hecht was? Tommy mentions David Hogg and search for Rob Boss Hogg. It's his cousin, a policeman. Interesting. I'll have to have a look at that. I will try and come back soon with another live stream video. And once again, thanks for joining me. Always appreciated. I'll catch up with you guys soon. Have a great day, have a great week. I'll be back soon. Thank you very much.